Hi and welcome back. We all know that the Old Covenant, the basis of the Old Covenant, is all around the Ten Commandments or the law that God gave to Moses on Mount Sinai. So many of us realize that those laws that were principles, teachings that the people of Israel had to adhere to. So when we come into the New Covenant and the New Testament, we know that things are different. We know that Jesus died to set us free from the law. But now here's something that we need to understand. Paul says in Romans chapter 7, verse 14, that we know that the law is spiritual. You see, Paul did not see the law as principles, as just writings on stone or writings in a book. He didn't see it as something that was, in a sense, physical. But Paul understood the spiritual impact of the law. So even in his day, where perhaps the law was not available to everyone in a physical form, Paul understood that the spirit of the law was still there. And so it is today. It's amazing how often Christians who experience the work of God, experience the grace of God in their life, and yet still find themselves living under condemnation. So there's the key that Paul wants us to grasp. And this is very clear, must be very clear to us. If the law is spiritual, then we need to be set free spiritually from that. That's why we read in Romans chapter 8, verse 3 and 4, that Jesus died on the cross to deal with that spiritual aspect of the law. So when you're reading in Romans chapter 7, Paul talks about the struggles that he has. In fact, he comes to a place and he says, how do I get rid of this flesh, this weakness? How do I find victory in that? And then as he continues to write, he comes down and he says, it's not the how, but it's the who. Oh, thanks be to God, he says. That is my victory in Jesus Christ. So we are not called to submit to the new covenant law. We're called to submit to the new covenant spirit, the Holy Spirit that now has access to write his word on the tablets of our hearts and our lives. That was the promise that God gave to Ezekiel, the promise that came through the book of Jeremiah. And that's what stands for you and I today. That's why it's important that our hearts are clear and open for God to write by his Spirit, spiritual law, spiritual truth in us. And that sets us free. God bless you.